Okay, so back to the story. When I was in the so I mentioned the first psych ward said I didn't have a mental illness. The doctor said I didn't have a mental illness. They kept me for a week. He said I didn't have schizophrenia. He wanted to see if I had bipolar disorder. Kept me for a week. Said I didn't have bipolar disorder. It's a long story. It was crazy what happened there, but they let me out. And I told my mom I didn't have a mental illness. My mom said, well, she didn't believe them. She thought that I tricked them. And she said that only once I start taking medicine, she'll give me a place to stay and all that. This was, right when I got back from Kauai, like 2014. Then, and I graduated college in 2013. I had a bachelor's degree in psychology. Then I tried to go in the second psych ward to get the doctor to talk to my mom, because my mom was trying to force me to go into the psych ward to tell her to stop trying to make me take medicine. They wouldn't let me in. Then my mom wouldn't let me in. So then I told them later, okay, I'm suicidal. Can you let me in so I could talk to the doctor? So they let me in on a 5150, but I wasn't really suicidal. And then, but then my mom, grandma blackmailed me, saying that if I didn't let them talk to the doctor, my mom and dad, then they would destroy my basketball DVDs. And, that was the most important thing for me, the basketball DVDs. That's what I wanted from the very beginning. More basketball DVDs. And I didn't want the ones that I had to be destroyed, and I hadn't put them up on YouTube yet. And that's what I wanted to do. So, anyways, my mom and dad convinced the doctor to make me take medicine. Then the judge took the doctor's side and then said I had to take medicine. And then he said, okay, I'll give you a shot and you can leave in 2 days. So he gave me a shot. I left in 2 days, but it's a long-acting injectable. I didn't know that. I thought it was just like a shot that would just last for a couple days, but it's a long-acting injectable. And it lasts for like a month, but it starts secreting after 2 weeks. So I go to the outpatient program in San Diego, and in San Diego, I talk to the doctor, and the doctor gives me the MMPI and stuff. And then they gave me the MMPI. They say that's the most foolproof test. And they give me interview, and they give me IQ test. I got a 124 IQ when they did it. They said that was high. And they said, you definitely don't have schizophrenia. You don't have bipolar. You don't have any mental illness. So, my grandma and my mom are very, very upset. My mom was like, I just want him out of my life. I just want him to be independent. And they were like, what? How can you talk about your son like that? My mom was like, huh? Because my mom was like, well, his grandpa is a psychologist, and he always talks about being independent. I thought that you guys would be on my side. You guys are psychologists too, aren't you? No, my grandpa's a different type of psychologist. And even my grandpa says my mom is wrong in her, like, trying to force me to be independent thing. And not talking to me and stuff. And she says that she has predator prey software and all that. So anyways, it's like, it was just it was a crazy, wild situation. So then, and then, so my mom, my refrigerator makes a lot of noise, so it's kind of distracting me a little bit. But so then I leave the psych ward. I go to San Diego. They said I don't need to take medicine, but this is, it takes 2 weeks for the medicine to start secreting. So then I'm like, okay, good. So then I go back to my aunt's house, and my aunt's really upset. She's like, because she wanted me to start taking medicine. They all wanted me to start taking medicine, and now the doctors and the nurses are all saying no, she shouldn't take medicine. They wrote a whole thing about it. And, they told them, my mom and my aunt, to stop trying to make me take medicine. They said I don't have a mental illness. And my mom and my aunt were like, well, he tricked you guys. And they're like, no, you can't trick somebody. If you're mentally ill, you can't trick the doctors. So, but my mom and I want to say too, when I was in the psych ward, the first one, I told my mom, I don't want to take this medicine. My mom never visited me. All the other psych patients were getting visitors. I didn't get any visitors except for the last day, the day before I was going to take the medicine. My mom came in, and my mom was like, look at you. Look how ugly you are. I'm so embarrassed to have a schizophrenic son. I'm not making it up. And my mom's like worse than this. I can't even talk how she talks. And I was like, I said, Mom, get me out of here, please. They're going to make me take a very dangerous drug. It's an antipsychotic. It's very dangerous. Please get me out of here. My mom said, my mom was like, no, you need to take the medicine. You're a fucking schizophrenic loser. You're a bitch, and it's that type of stuff. I'm not even making it up. So then I was like, so I told her, if you don't get me out of here, I'm gonna tell everybody. I'm gonna tell everybody what you did to me, and I'm gonna tell everybody what you did to me in high school with the shoot away machine, with all this stuff. I'm gonna tell everybody. And my mom was like, good. No one's gonna believe you. You're schizophrenic. So she's crazy, dude. She was being crazy. So I was like, oh my God, like it was insane. But all I wanted was my mom and dad to just talk to me, to be normal. And I know that their hatred comes from the shoot away machine, from that stuff. And they don't realize it was a shoot away machine that was the problem. And I'm going to get to that more later. So if it wasn't for the shoot away machine, none of this stuff would have happened. They would have still loved me. And oh, Ryan's so amazing. He's so good at basketball. He's so good. Oh, he's so awesome. Because I was unconscious. That's the reason why the shoot away machine messed me up so much, because I was unconscious, and that's what made me so good. But because I was picking up off the rack of the shoot away machine, it messed up my form. And then my dad tried to fix it, told me to do the wrong thing, and everything just deteriorated. And I wish I could tell you guys all the details about that, about exactly how it destroyed my shot and everything, and what it did to me. And then my dad tried to fix this, and then he tried to change this, and everything just deteriorated from there. And if it wasn't for that, none of the crazy stuff would have happened. So then I finally get my DVDs from San Diego, because my grandma came on a train, which is scary to me because my grandma's an old lady. She with a train with all my DVDs, the most valuable thing in the world to me. But she came with my DVDs, and I started uploading my DVDs onto YouTube. The ones that I had, like I said, I've had very few. I had lost at least 30 at UCSD, and I didn't have very many to begin with because my dad didn't record and stuff, and my mom was too afraid to record because she was too afraid to make mistakes. My dad only wanted to watch. My dad was like, I can't watch and record at the same time. He needed to watch the games. Even though I was scoring 30, 40 a game and doing amazing stuff, like that was the way my dad was. So they made mistakes. And even my grandpa says they made mistakes with that. So then I'm uploading my videos, and I'm thinking like, okay, well, I got out of this and everything's going to be okay. Then about, 2 weeks after the shot, so probably like, a week later after the people at the psych ward said I don't need to take medicine after they gave me all those tests, people at the outpatient program, I started the medicine started secreting, because it takes 2 weeks for this to start secreting. And then when it started secreting, I started, like, my muscles started to twitch, and I woke up and I'm drooling, and you don't know the amount of pain that you're in. Like, this is the most painful experience. And people describe, like, when I would look up online what people described what a Risperdal shot was like, they said it's like hell. They said there's no worse painful experience in it. It's the worst type of thing. You can't even describe it, how horrifying it is, how terrible it is. And so, anyways, to make a long story short, it's like excruciating pain throughout your whole body. You can't move. My legs felt like bricks. That's why they have the shuffle. That's why they have the zombie shuffle. That's what I had. Like, I couldn't walk more than 5 steps without collapsing. And that was for about 2 months, because this was screening at me for 2 months. And you can't sit still, but you can't you have to keep moving, but it hurts too much to move. So then you try to sit still, but you can't sit still. And it's like, it's the most excruciating type of torture you could ever imagine. And and I asked my grandpa, like, why would they give this to people? My grandpa was like, well, it's designed for schizophrenics because schizophrenics have these delusions and stuff, and they also bother people, and it's basically designed to just like completely anesthetize them, and completely, it's like they call it a chemical straitjacket. It's just supposed to get them to shut up and stop bothering people. And I understand why, because it's a form of torture, dude. It was the most torturous thing I've ever experienced. And my friend Noah told me about this stuff. My friend Noah told me about how evil psychiatry was, and I never believed him. I was like, no, these medicines probably help people. No, you're just paranoid. You're just crazy and stuff. And then I freaking faced it. And I'm like, dude, I think Noah's, I thought this dude was crazy, but I think he might have some, he might actually be kind of accurate. But it was the most horrifying thing ever, dude. Like, before this, I didn't like psychiatry. I didn't like psychiatry because I didn't like how my mom was trying to use psychiatry against me. But I never was so, quote unquote, like super anti-psychiatry. Like, I did have a thing where I was like, when I was a leftist, I didn't like psychiatry because I was like, I was I hated victim blamer. So I was like, yes, there's an aspect of Pygmalion effect where, if the psychiatrist believes you're schizophrenic, then you're going to display schizophrenic characteristics. And, it's a scapegoat mechanism and for identified patients. And so I kind of had that idea about psychiatry a little bit, but I still believe that there was such thing as schizophrenia and stuff. And, I wasn't crazy with it like Noah. Noah didn't believe there was such thing as schizophrenia, but, he thought it was like Foucault. Like Foucault thinks that the only reason why they're schizophrenics is because they serve the scapegoat function for society. Like they're the victims of society, and society needs to have a scapegoat. And so they create schizophrenics and stuff. And people, willingly take on that place. And to me, that's kind of a leftist way of looking at things. And when I was leftist, I looked at things that way, like, because I wanted to believe that it was like, because I wanted white people and black people to mix. And I wanted to believe like, the only reason why black people are not, as high as white people is because the Pygmalion effect. And, I was against victim blaming. So I was always for the victim, right? And, so because I wanted to destroy white people. And so I would adopt any type of leftist victimology type of way of looking at things. Especially because I wanted to destroy white people, right? Because I saw myself as Jewish and I wanted to defeat the white people. So then I faced this terrible pain, the worst type of thing you can experience. And then so I drove, like on the second day of the drug going through me, I was stuck in my aunt's house and she didn't even have any food and stuff for me. So I drove to my grandpa's place, and my grandpa, and I like, it's a miracle that I made it. Cause like as I'm driving, I'm like this, I can't move. I'm like, I can't listen to music because any stimuli is too painful. So I'm just like, ugh. And I get to my grandpa's house. My grandpa said he's looked at me and he said that he was like, he was scared. My grandpa was like, I've never been so scared. He was like, he said he looked at me. He said he looked into my eyes. He said there was nothing there. He said it was like vacant. It's like I was a zombie. And again, like I had the zombie walk because I couldn't walk more than 5 steps. Literally, I had to, like, when I walked 5 steps, I had to like lay down and I'd get back up. Like 20 minutes later, I could walk another 5 steps and I have to lay down. Because it was, and like I said, my muscles were twitching and stuff. And it turns out that was brain damage. I talked to the doctors later about this because like for months, or actually no, for years, I had a tremor. And my fingers would just like involuntarily twitch every once in a while. Like it would be like this. And I don't know if I've ever really recovered. I think I might have just got used to being fucked up. But like my legs felt like bricks. Like before this, I would run the whole freaking beach. I was in very good shape before this. Like because I was trying to get back into basketball. And I was going to, and things were going good. And my mom and dad don't believe that because my mom was like, you suck at basketball because she remembers the freaking high school with the shoot-away machine. So, this is the problem. And they wouldn't see me, so they couldn't see. So, but anyways, I go to my grandpa's house, and then my grandpa's taking care of me, and my grandma's like crying. My grandma's like, how did you let them do this to him, Bob? And my grandpa was like, I didn't know. And I remember I told my grandpa, I was like, Grandpa, I called you when I was in the psych ward, and I said, can you please get me out of here? My grandpa was like, I didn't believe you. I didn't, because my grandpa was like, dude, you didn't have any symptoms of schizophrenia. I didn't believe it that they could hold you against your will. And I was like, they did though. And my grandpa was like, well, I didn't know. And I was like, well, I told you on the phone to get me out of here that they're going to force me to take medicine. And he was like, well, I thought that you were lying to me. It's just like, oh God, this is just so fucking horrifying, dude. So I'm lying there and I'm like, and I'm in my mind, like, this is a crazy thing. I never wanted to commit suicide in my life. Never. And these drugs are supposed to, the reason why they gave me this drug was because I was suicidal and they wanted to help me. There was no time in my life ever that I wanted to commit suicide. While I was on this drug, the whole time I wanted to kill myself. I'm not playing because I was in such pain. So it's like ironic. It's like it's supposed to stop me from killing myself, but I wanted to kill myself because I was in too much pain. I was like, I was laying there and I was like, and I was thinking to my mind, I was like, just go to the top of because my grandpa's in a condo complex. I just go to the top of the complex and just jump, get yourself out of this pain. Because I didn't even know if this pain would ever stop. I didn't know what was happening to me, because in my mind, I'm like, is this supposed? I thought the job was supposed to last for 2 days. I didn't know it was gonna be a month. It secretes in your system after 2 weeks. It starts secreting in your system for 2 months. And I didn't know that at this time. So a week goes by and then like a couple weeks go by and I'm still like laying on the bed. I can't do anything. I'm drooling. My fingers are twitching. I'm like shaking. My grandpa took me to the emergency room. And like I said, I'm thinking to myself, just kill yourself, get yourself out of this excruciating pain. And then the people in the emergency room were like, my grandpa's like, what can you guys do? And then the people in the emergency room were like, we can't do anything. The thing is like secreted. It's a microspheres deep into my butt. A huge needle went deep in my butt. So they're like, we can't do anything about it. You know, they said he's having an allergic reaction. It's not an allergic reaction, apparently. It's the reaction that most people have on it. That's why when you see the schizophrenics, you're like, duh. People think it's because they're freaking schizophrenic. A lot of it is because of the drug, apparently. Like, and I didn't know this at that time, right? I didn't believe Noah. Noah told me this stuff. He was like, dude, the psychiatry does more harm than the freaking diseases. And I was like, dude, I don't believe you, dude. I think the medicines probably help people. I think you're paranoid. But Noah's like, dude, you have no idea. And then, so like, this is the only reason why I think that it might have been okay that this happened to me, because it's like, then I start to like become more awake that maybe I'm wrong about some things, and like maybe like Noah, who I thought was crazy, was right. It's kind of like, that's kind of a head trip to be able to recognize like, whoa, I was really wrong. Like, it's almost like the universe was trying to tell me like, yeah, Ryan, you know, you need to know about this. But like, it was so freaking horrifying, man. It was the most terrible thing ever. So I'm just like, I don't know the most terrible thing ever. It was really terrible, but I was just like just basically in a state of dying, of decay, of like just the most amount of pain you can imagine. And then, I mean, just months went by, and then I even went to back to my aunt and uncle's place, and my aunt and my uncle they even felt bad. They're like, yeah, they're like, Ryan, like, you know, we wanted to help you, and we thought the medicine would help you, but we didn't know they were going to give you this. And I'm like, you fucking idiots. I called you, and I told you on the phone. I was like, they're going to give me a very dangerous medication. Because even the people at the psych ward were saying, people at the psych ward were like, Ryan, if you take this medication, dude, you're never, you know, you're a good basketball player. Because they saw me play basketball on the side court on one of the days when we had to think. They're like, you're never going to be the same again. And I called my aunt, and I was like, you're going to give me really dangerous medication. Please get me out of here. My aunt was like, no, just take the medicine. You have mania right now. And then so my aunt and uncle were like, Ryan, like, so I'm like, I told you so, but they're like, right, if we knew that they were going to give you this, like, we thought there was going to be this, like, a medicine that's going to help you, but we didn't know they were going to give you this. And I was like, I told you, I called you guys when I was in the psych ward, and I said, get me out of here. And they didn't get me out of there, dude. And I told them they're going to give me a very dangerous medicine that could really hurt me. And they didn't listen. So, you know, and I called other people. I called friends. I called a lot of people. Nobody helped me. I can go into details about the people who I called. Even Noah. I called Noah. And Noah said, I can't help you because if I go down there, they might think that I'm crazy. They might think, no, you freaking idiot, Noah. They would not have put you in the psych ward. They would have, you know, I just needed they wouldn't let me go because I didn't have a place to stay. And nobody gave me a place to stay. Even I called my friend, Kosh, he didn't give me a place to stay. The first time Kosh did, nobody gave me a place to stay. If I would have just got a place to stay, I could have gotten out of there. Nobody helped me. It's crazy, man. And there was crazy people, there are actual crazy people in the psych ward who are like really crazy people. I'm a very calm, quiet person. There are real crazy people in there, and they were getting out of there because they had someone who would get them out. I didn't have anybody to get me out. So, you know, it's really sad, man. And it screwed me up. So, you know, basically though, but then after a couple months, it took me years to start, you know, for years, like I couldn't think. Like, I mean, I remember like the first months after it, I couldn't think at all. Like I couldn't think of words. Like I remember I went to a Scientology thing because I took a Scientology test online, and I went to their thing, and it was like a personality test. And then I was talking to a lady, and the lady was like, she was mean, dumb lady. And, but she asked me something, and I was like, I wanted to think of the word skeptical, but I couldn't think of any words anymore. I couldn't even think for like years out of this. Like, it really messed me up, dude. And then I went to the doctors, and the doctor's like, yeah, you have brain damage, or like you have nerve damage because your fingers are twitching. And I was shaking, and you know, and they gave me tests, and they gave me a test for, and then one day, like I would say it was about a month after the drug started secreting, I started noticing my breast was hurting. I was like, what, do I have breast cancer or something? Because I started growing a breast tissue, and so it was in pain. So I went to the doctor. Doctor was like, oh, you have gynecomastia. They're like, have you been taking any drugs? And I don't take any weed. They say that sometimes weed can do it. I don't take any weed. I never smoked weed in my life. And I was like, I was taking Risperdal. They gave me a shot, and they're like, oh yeah, that does it. I ended up doing I forget the word for it, but like a class action lawsuit, and I sued Risperdal for $50,000, which I recently got, for giving me gynecomastia. And I'm going to try to sue the doctors. Once I get the quadriceps big and everything, I'm hopefully going to try to sue them. I'm going to try to sue everybody I can for what they did to me. But I had a group breast tissue, and even like my ex-girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend, I don't know if she's still pregnant, but she's supposed to be pregnant with my baby right now. I don't know if she still is, but because she's not talking to me anymore. But she she was looking at my breast one day, and she was like, "Your left breast is bigger than your right one. Your left nipple's like bigger and stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't want to. I can explain to you why, but I don't really want to. But yes, my left breast is bigger than my right breast." And so that's the reason why I sued Risperdal for $50,000. I got $50,000 for it, because the drug made my breast tissue grow. And oh, this is the other thing. I'm gonna get to this. I'll get to this in the next video, but it is just so crazy, dude.